Thank you very much.
We have heard of different versions. Some people said you were kidnapped. Some said you were abducted. Some said you were taken forcefully from the airport on your way out of Owerri. So what's the picture? What is the true story of what actually happened?
First, I just want to thank God that I'm alive to be here today to narrate my story. I want to thank God for the lives of the parishioners, the parish priests, my family member, more especially my immediate family members, my wife and the wife of the senator representing Olu Senatorial Zone, and the members of the church. What happened was not arrest, it was abduction. It was abduction because the security operatives that came from government house were hooded. They were all masked, 20 security personnel. You cannot see their face. You can't even identify if they are police from force headquarters or they are not. But I think I want to thank the IG of police who has done very, very well in unraveling the circumstances and the that brought my abduction by these security agencies. I lost my mom and I buried my mom on the 22nd December 2021. On the 26th, I was in the church for the outing service, and the parish priest was already preaching. By 11 o'clock, I saw my PA came into the church and told me that there are some strange movements. I said, okay, probably it was one of those VIPs that wants to come in. Bring them in. By the time my PA would have come in, these security operatives came inside the church. 10 of them. Some went on top of the altar. One came and tapped me and said, "You're under arrest." I said, what have I done? Why should you arrest me inside church? Before I could even ask him, why should you arrest me inside church, he cocked his gun and told me that if I don't get up, he was going to shoot me. My wife was asking them, what is his offense? The guy cocked his gun and started shooting. At that moment, the parish priest started shouting, "What is it? What is it?" The church went into commotion and people started running helter-skelter. They dragged me out, tore my shirt, dragged me towards their vehicle. As they were dragging me, they were shooting constantly. They never stopped until they were able to put me inside their vehicle. I followed them. Inside the vehicle, they came with 4 vehicles. One military vehicle that is attached to the governor of Imo State. One Ford Hilux that is attached to the governor of Imo State. One Ford Jeep that is attached to the governor of Imo State. And one white van that is attached to the governor of Imo State.
The number of, okay, you will know.
The security operatives, some of my police orderlies, some of my police
they know them.
They know them and they called their name. They were asking them with their name. One is Sonny, one is, his nickname is Terror. They were asking them, what is the problem? They were shooting. And they asked me to lie down on the vehicle, on the floor of the van. One of them used his leg on my head. And with that speed, I've never seen this kind of movement. They sped as if the world wants to end. And when we got to Owerri, when we got to Njaba, they stopped. And the other one that was putting his leg on my head now cocked his gun and said, "Oga, go down." So at that time, I thought I was going to be killed. And when I came down, he dragged me to the other vehicle, the Ford Jeep in front, and pushed me inside. Now, inside the Ford Jeep was one masked policeman by my right, by my left. The one driving had marks on his face. The other one, masked also. They now sped, and the other one followed them at the back. When we were about getting to Owerri, the other one told the other one, in Hausa, Abunga has entered the internet. So the other one now saw it.
That means the story has entered the internet.
Yes, and the other one saw it and hit his leg and said,
so they were not Southeasterners, the security operatives?
No, they were not.
They were not?
They were not, because they were speaking, they are security operatives in government house. So they were speaking, at that time, they didn't know that I speak Hausa. So when we got to government house roundabout, the other remaining vehicle veered into government house. Then that particular one that took me started going towards Angara Road. And at that point, I started asking them, what did I do? They said, "Oga, keep quiet." They drove me all the way to Okigwe. At that Okigwe, they now moved towards Enugu. So at that time, they started communicating with somebody named Shaba, because as I was sitting at the back, I was looking at the man in the front, and calls keep coming. So I saw the name Shaba. So he was telling him in Hausa, Murikeshi, Oga, we have him. Murikeshi, Karkadamu, Oga, we have him, don't worry. So I was scared, and I told them, if you want to kill me, why don't you let me know that you want to kill me? Let me know that you want to kill me. Then the other one sitting by my side, he said, Oga, keep quiet. They drove me all the way to Enugu. When we got to almost getting to Enugu, they now called the same Shaba, who is the CSO to Governor Hope Uzodinma, who now asked them to ask me to remove my clothes. They now said, Oga, remove your clothes. We want to take a picture of you. They removed my clothes, brought a handcuff, put a handcuff on me, and took my picture. That one went outside, sent the picture that is trending to the same Shaba, who is the CSO to Governor Hope Uzodinma. And they came back again and said, okay, we want to take your video. And that one came back, took my video, sent to the same Shaba, and then they came back. So at that point, the other one was, the way they were behaving, and I spoke Hausa to them. The other one said, Kai, I said, yeah, Zaku Kasheni. When they know that I speak Hausa, they now calm down. And when we got to Enugu Airport, we waited for 1 hour, 30 minutes at Enugu Airport. And they were communicating with Shaba and the person coming from Abuja. Then when the plane landed, they put a cap on me and moved me inside the airport to the private wing. They held me as if I was a common criminal. I was still asking them, why are you doing this?
Exactly what I wanted to ask. Did you ask them what you did and why they
arrested you? I asked them, why are they doing this to me? They were not saying anything. They said it was a directive from government's house that they should get me. So when we got to the airport, behold, there was a private jet, and they put me inside the private jet. And the private jet brought me to Abuja. It was when I came to Abuja that I got to know that the police hierarchy was not aware that I was being abducted and kidnapped by these operatives from government house. They lied to the IG of police, who I have to recommend for his professionalism, and that I was invited for several times, and I refused to come. And I told the IG that I was never invited. No invitation letter, no calls, nobody reached me. I just went to the church for my mom's Thanksgiving service, and I was abducted by security operatives from government house, led by Shaba, the CSO to the governor of Imo State. And this is how I was humiliated, handcuffed, the picture of the handcuff, putting inside the social media. I was asking, who has the right to put my picture on handcuff in social media? And again, the question now we should ask those that did this evil acts, who paid for the private jet? Because I looked at the private jet does not belong to Nigerian police. Who paid for the private jet that took me? Because all this that happened was not an attempt to arrest me, it was an attempt to kill me. Why I say this? Because the people that came from Abuja, they were told around 4, and they left Abuja around 4. So it was not like the plane was waiting for us to arrive. So I think they changed their mind when they saw that the thing has gone viral on the internet. They now started going to Enugu, where they wanted to make it look official. I asked myself this question: why should somebody come to the altar of God to shoot?
To pick.
I know that Nigerian police, led by the current IG, cannot do this kind of dirty job inside police, inside the altar. It is the security operatives, the same Shaba and colleagues who did what they did at Royal Spring Palm, the same group of people that shot one of Rochas, Okorocha's in-law, Uzo Nwosu, and shot him on the leg. The same group of people thought that when they did that, they went scot-free. The same Shaba now led this team in order to kill me and to assassinate me.
But let me understand what you're saying now, because the police confirmed few hours later, when the news broke that you have been adopted, the police confirmed that you're in their custody. That's here in Abuja. We also saw it.
Yes.
Our correspondent sent the story to us that you were in the police custody.
Yes.
And the APC in Imo State, as of yesterday, said they had invited you on 2 occasions that you didn't go.
APC.
So it was, yes, it was an opportunity.
APC.
That's the way they put it.
That I was invited twice.
Yes, that you didn't come for the invitation. But I would like to ask, they invited you initially. What was the reason for that invitation? Was it police or EFCC? I
was never invited. I challenge whoever that said that invited me. Of course, when you want to invite somebody, you should invite him with a letter or call. I've challenged them to provide the letter of invitation or to provide the call log upon which I was invited. There was no invitation. This was masterminded in Government House, and it is not the duty of the security operative attached to the governor of the state to arrest an individual. When has it become the duty of a CSO to the governor of a state to arrest an individual? I think it's not something we need to take low, to think is just because I'm Uche Nwosu, but it is about other Imolites who have suffered the same fate.
Sorry, it's surprising that, according to your narration now, according to your story, that the governor, people from the Government House, the security operatives from the Government House who are attached to the governor, came to pick you. Because somebody listening to that story will ask, why would they be coming after you if actually they want to kill you? What do you have with the governor?
You know, I wouldn't want to start explaining everything, but you know already that the governor is after Rochas Okorocha and his family.
Okay.
He's not, you heard what happened to Rochas, where he was almost killed at Royal Spring Farm in Owerri. You've had the seizure of properties and the rest of things. So it is not a new thing to think that we are in good terms with Hope Uzodimma. If he claimed that we are in good terms, he's deceiving the entire world. We are never in good terms. He's fighting us. And we have not come out. The good thing is that you have never heard me talk evil against Hope all this while. So he decided that what he wants to do is to fight Owule Rochas Okorocha and his family. I was not invited. It's not their duty to arrest me. If I had an invitation, of course, I should have gone to police hierarchy. Because during my mom's burial, I applied for police, and the CP gave me security personnel that were provided security during my mom's burial. So the CP would have told me that I have an invitation to come to the police headquarters. It is not the duty of the CSO to the Government House, Shaba, to send security operatives from Government House to come and arrest me. And their faces were all covered. And if you are arresting somebody, you should show yourself.
And they were in police uniform?
They were never in police uniform.
So they just hooded?
They hooded themselves.
Yes.
All of them, the 20 of them.
In black or?
In black.
So they were not in police uniform? So you couldn't identify them by their name?
They were never, just because some of my security operatives were able to identify some of them. And one of the vehicles they came with, they were able to identify the vehicle. One of the vehicles was a military vehicle that is attached to the governor of Imo State.
Now, when we see what is going on in Imo State, it's a situation that a lot of persons will want to say, is this what politics is all about? This battle of wits between the former governor and the incumbent governor. Because I remember that one of his, I think his attorney general also complained that he came to burn his house.
Yes.
And fingers were pointed at Rochas Okorocha as at that time. So when would this whole thing end? When would they come to the middle of their battle, which is already affecting their family members, including you?
You see, I think, I don't know about the attorney general that said Rochas Okorocha came to burn his house.
No, I said fingers were pointed at, not him that said it.
You know, throughout his 8 years as a governor, Imo was one of the most peaceful states. And Rochas, I know, who was my boss, and who I served under him as the chief of staff, I know who the man is. The man is not a man that can, because you are not in his camp, and he will start chasing you. Hope was there for as a senator, and Rochas Okorocha never deemed it fit to start chasing him. The person that came before Hope, Emeka Ihedon, His Excellency Emeka Ihedon, was a deputy speaker, and Owule Rochas Okorocha never pursued him. So when you talk about when will this end, it will end when the governor of the state, who is His Excellency Governor Hope Uzodimma, decide that he wants to end the impunity in Imo State. For us, we don't have a problem. We don't have okay, I was in the church for the outing service of my beloved mom. The men that came did not even respect the altar of God, and they started shooting inside the church. Even when the parish priest was telling them, this is church, they never cared. To them, it's a normal thing. And the IG of police, who I know very well, cannot authorize such kind of group of people to come inside the church and start shooting.
That's where my next question will come. If the Inspector General of Police is aware that you were not arrested, and have you asked if the police has investigated what actually happened and those behind the word you use, abduction, your abduction?
Yes, it's not an arrest, because I know when you want to arrest somebody. If a police want to arrest somebody, you provide a warrant of arrest, or you send somebody invitation letter. And if the person refuses to come, you come with warrant of arrest or an order of court to pick the person. But that was never provided. So that's why I say it's an abduction. The IG, who I will always say is doing a very good job, has also set up a panel that will investigate the circumstances behind where this abduction happened. So I believe that the IG will do a very good job, because it is not about me now. It is about, one, the image of Nigerian police. It's about the discretion of the altar of God. It is about what is going in Imo State. You can imagine, this is me. What if it's not Uche Nwosu? What if this happened to a normal person who does not have a say in the society? It would have been a normal story. It would have been, it was taken up by some unknown gunmen, and that would be the end. But just because the social media, the print media, the electronic media were able to start making noise, that was why their mind changed, and they had to divert everything.
But if the same security men snapped you with anchor and then sent it to social media, what was their aim in doing that? Because you said that was your saving grace. Yeah,
because
or they didn't know that it will help you.
You know, there is this saying in the Bible: let your enemies make a mistake that will advance your cause. Probably that was the mistake they made by sending it on the social media, and people now knew that some people heard me. Was it their duty to take a picture of me? Your duty, if you actually said that you came to arrest me, your duty is to arrest and hand over. Why should they be in a hurry to send my picture with my singlet, dehumanizing me, humiliated me, and sent it to, I think the IG should find out who was the person that sent that my picture with handcuff and singlet to the social media. Who did that? Because it did not come from the office of the Inspector General. It did not come from the office of the Commissioner for Police, Imo State. Who did that? That's the question we should ask ourselves. Who was the person that paid for that private jet? To pay a private jet is nothing less than $20,000. That's almost 11 to 12 million. Who paid for the private jet that came and picked me to Abuja? That's the question we should ask ourselves. And we should ask ourselves, why should security operatives attached to a governor of a state be the people or be the security apparatus to arrest, humiliate, humanize, dehumanize an individual, and then send it on the social media? So it is not about me. I'm not saying this because this is Uche Nwosu. I'm saying this because of other Imolites that have gone through this process. Because tomorrow, they might give me police and say, for this, let's give you police. But what about those who don't have police security?
Who don't have access?
What about those who don't have police security? Because initially, people started sending on social media that is unknown gunmen. Why were they saying it was unknown gunmen? Because there is nothing to identify them. It was when my boy now sent a video on the social media, now calling the number of those vehicles, and some of the boys that we were able to recognize. One of them was Sonny.
Okay, you're just giving me another line now. Your boy, yes. That's one of your security.
No, one of my media
aid sent a video.
Yes, because
a video of the church, or when you were arrested?
When both in the church and when they were shooting. You know, they were shooting. So the guy was smart. So what he did was he was far and was taking that video. They never knew that they were covered. So by the time they got to Owerri, the thing was all over the media. So to them, it's like their plan has been busted. So what would they do? What they now decided to do was to take me to Enugu. Because if really I was going to be arrested, there should have been a private jet. If really they want to pay a private jet. The Nigerian
police private jet.
Yes, Nigerian police should have provided a helicopter, a private jet, if I'm so hardened as a criminal. that will pick me from Enugu. By the time we got there, I would have seen a helicopter or a police jet that would take me to Abuja. But the jet came 1 hour, 30 minutes when we got to Enugu. So what happened? Was it that taking me to Abuja was afterthoughts? Or was it that they were trying to see what they would do before they now decided to call a private jet to pick me? So these are the questions we need to ask. And these are the questions that I'm pleading that the IG, who has done wonderfully well, I have to say this because if not the IG of police, I don't know what would have happened to me.
But let me ask you this last question before you say your final word. When they brought you to Abuja, they took you to a command in Abuja here, a police station.
Yes.
And immediately the IG was notified.
Yes.
But I don't know, it's not supposed to be you that will answer this question. Yes. I would have loved to ask, but let me ask did they also ask those who brought you the reason why you were arrested? If you say they don't have any reason for
I don't
arresting
know.
you.
I think this
yes,
is between,
exactly.
This is between the police.
Exactly.
But for me,
but have you tried using your position to say why?
No,
for
me, what I told them was that the question is that where were you invited and refused to come? So yes. I was surprised, and I told the police hierarchy, I was never invited. My name is Uche Nwosu. I was chief of staff 4 years, commissioner for land 3.5 years. I was deputy chief of staff for 1.5 years. I am not somebody that will run away. I live in Abuja. I came back for my mom's burial, and the police gave me security. The SSS gave me security. You can reach me anytime. So why making me look like a criminal? Why putting me half naked and taking my picture to the entire world, making me look like a criminal that was caught stealing? So that's my own. So I think it is left for the IG now to unravel the circumstances that led to my dehumanization, my handcuffing, and the helicopter, the shooting inside church, the dragging inside church, the tearing of my clothes, the pushing down of my wife, the chasing out of members
of your church,
of my church, who are already. I invited a lot of friends from Abuja and Lagos. Everybody was just seated. It was just for the preaching, the priest to finish his preaching, so that we can go and do the Thanksgiving and leave the church. These people came. Everything turned upside down. People got injured. My younger brother got injured. They said that one of the bullets pierced through his ear. My sister was beaten up. My wife was pushed down. Her clothes was torn. The wife of the senator representing Olu Senatorial Zone was pushed down, where she was trying to ask them questions, and these men started shooting until I was dragged inside the waiting vehicle. So I have said it earlier on. It is not about me. It is about others who do not have somebody to say for them. It is about this repeating itself again in any of the church. It can be anywhere. It can be in a mosque. It can be in any church. It's not about the Anglican church. It is about the same group of people that are security operatives. If I'm calling them security operatives, I'm even giving them this thing, impetus. This group of murderers, because the way I was treated as if I was somebody who does not have value. So for me, this group of people that have their unit inside the government house, what the IG should do is to look into this matter. The same group of people were the same group of people that harassed Rochas, Okorocha as Royal Spring Park. The same group of people were there when Ozo Anwoka was shot. The same group of people were the same group of people that shot at Royal Spring Park. So when you look at it,
you know you can't call them murderers until they are caught in the act.
Let me tell you.
That's one thing.